Welcome back to DST's Golf Channel, where we're dedicated to helping you become a better ball striker by showing you how to use your clubs more effectively. If I told you you could improve your accuracy by 43%, improve your distance control by 50%, and hit the ball 6 yards further without increasing your club head speed, you'd be all over it, wouldn't you? Well, this has been independently and scientifically proven by simply improving the position that the handle reaches at impact. Over the last 5 years, there's been a growing awareness on social media about reaching a lag impact. But no one's ever shown us how much more effective a lag impact is compared to a flip impact. So you can understand why reaching a lag impact, where the club trails behind the lead forearm, is preferable to a flip impact, where the club's already flipped past the lead forearm. So in this video, we're going to look at the results of a study that Dr. Sasho McKenzie, the preeminent scientist in the field of kinematics in golf, undertook. He evaluated the different effects of a flip and a lag impact. Then we're going to have a look at the results of a study where we filmed 448 golfers in a pro-am to understand what proportion of golfers reach a flip impact, so we can understand how common the problem is. And lastly, we're going to look at the results of another study that tracked the progress of a group of test golfers to see how the DST Impact Line influenced how they swung the club. Now, the results were so dramatic that if you're a serious golfer who wants to improve, you're not going to want to miss this. Now, we all know that golf club manufacturers have been continually improving the materials and structure of clubs, but the progress is a creeping gradual improvement. Whereas the DST Impact Line technology provides a dramatic, game-changing improvement by simply promoting a lag impact. After all, we know that the critical element is how the golfer uses their clubs. It's not the golf club itself. Golf is a lot simpler to learn, and players of all levels get better results faster when they understand what they're trying to achieve at impact and get constantly reminded of it. The position of the handle at impact is a critical element every golfer needs to understand and be reminded of. The rest of the swing is built around synchronizing the delivery of the handle into a lag impact position. That's the reason why I firmly believe that golfers of all levels would benefit massively if the DST Impact Line, which helps golfers locate and feel a lag impact handle position, was incorporated into every club in the bag. I know I do, because I've got it in all my clubs, and it forms part of my pre-shot routine. So I get reminded of what I'm wanting to achieve at impact before every shot I play. So let's make a start. The purpose of the study by Dr. Sasho McKenzie was to ascertain if the swing mechanics associated with a lag impact were mechanically more repeatable than a flip impact. Dr. McKenzie decided to use forward dynamics modelling so the swing models could be replicated precisely, and this resolved the issue of using real golfers who suffer from inconsistencies which would have rendered the results subjective and not meaningful. So using forward dynamics modelling, 2 repeatable basic swing models were developed and optimised to hit straight shots with less than 1 yard of lateral deviation. One model was created with a lag impact, where the club shaft lagged behind the lead forearm by 12 degrees, and the other with a flip impact, where the club shaft flipped past the lead forearm by 6 degrees. The lag model had a swing speed of 90 miles an hour, and the flip model a fraction faster at 91. Then these 2 optimised swing models had the same series of timing errors introduced into all of the muscles that powered the models. Then 1,000 swings were performed with both models. The results were evaluated to identify 5 key metrics: loft angle error, face angle error, club path error, attack angle error, and club head speed error. The lag swing model, which was based on the same impact geometry as the DST Impact Line, had better results and was more consistent in every metric. Loft angle error was reduced by 46%. Face angle error was also reduced by 46%. Club path error was reduced by 10%. Attack angle error was reduced by 4%. And finally, the club head speed error was reduced by 8%. Now, these reductions in errors resulted in a 43% improvement in accuracy, which reduced the lateral dispersion from 40 to 23 yards. Distance control improved by 50% from 12 yards to 6 yards, while hitting the ball 6 yards further with a club head speed that was 1 mile an hour slower. The results from the flip style swing were reminiscent of a high handicap golfer, whereas the results from the lag style swing were reminiscent of a PGA Tour player, with one notable difference, being the forward handle position that produced a lag impact. Now, this affected the angle of attack, which averaged 1.3 degrees up with the flip swing and 6 degrees down with the lag swing. In summary, Dr. Mackenzie stated, having a swing with an outcome that's less affected by these muscle timing errors would be beneficial. And as such, since the DST Impact Line technology encourages a lag style swing, it's promoting a club delivery pattern which is less susceptible to typical human error. So here's the preeminent scientist in the field of kinematics saying that the impact line would help golfers to be more consistent. So now we've identified that a lag impact offers significant benefits. Let's have a look at the results of our own study, where we filmed 448 golfers during a 3-day Pro-Am to see what proportion of golfers, both professionals and amateurs, actually reach a flip impact. So we can identify what proportion of golfers would benefit by changing their impact position. The filming took place on a par 3 of 150 yards at St Tenedoc Golf Club in Cornwall. The club selection clearly ranged from player to player, from a pitching wedge through to fairway woods. The professional players ranged in ability from former Ryder Cup and European Tour players through to club and teaching professionals who don't get to play that often. The amateurs also ranged in ability from county players through to high handicap golfers, which gave us a good spread to assess players of different abilities. Of the 448 golfers in the Pro-Am, 112 pros and 336 amateurs, 51% of pros and 84% of amateurs reached a flip impact. To further scrutinise and assess the 50 amateurs and the 55 professionals who did reach a lag impact in more detail, we used a combination of additional subjective factors to identify those who reached an optimal impact position. The additional factors were weight distribution favouring their lead side and hip and torso rotation being ideally rotated towards the target. The results of this additional layer of assessment showed that only 15 of the 336 amateurs had a desirable impact position and 41 of the 112 pros. This meant the actual number of amateurs who reached an optimal impact position was only 7% and only 36% of pros. The most significant observation we can take away from these findings, other than the very low numbers of golfers reaching an optimal impact position, is that reaching a flip impact is a problem which affects golfers of all abilities. The study highlights that the DST Impact Line technology would help 64% of professionals and 93% of club golfers. But the impact line is useful to all golfers, regardless if they have a lag or a flip impact. Lastly, let's review the results from the independent Bocelli study, which was undertaken to ascertain how the DST Impact Line technology influenced golfers' body and club movements during the swing. For those who aren't familiar with the DST Impact Line, it's a reference line that runs diagonally up and across the hosel of the club. When using the DST Impact Line, the player can familiarise themselves with the handle position that creates a lag impact, whilst also ensuring that the club face is square to the target. in order to conduct the testing with as few variables as possible. The goal of the testing wasn't revealed to the 35 testers until after the data had been gathered. To start the testing, the player was set up on K-Vest and then allowed to hit golf shots until they were able to produce their full speed on 3 consecutive shots. After the warm-up, the player was given 4 shots with a control 8-iron, and the results were recorded. After the player had completed their 4 shots, they were introduced to the same 8-iron, with the only difference being that the new club incorporated the DST Impact Line. And the tester was then shown how the impact line worked to produce a lag impact handle position. They were then asked to hit 4 additional shots. The test monitored 6 key variables in the swing to identify how the impact line influenced the tester's movement patterns. And these were kinematic rotational velocities in the pelvis and torso, angle of attack, club path, the angle between the club face and path, and lastly the launch angle. All results were monitored using TrackMan to capture all ball and club data and K-Vest for all body movement data. The results showed that kinematic rotational velocities in the pelvis increased in 60% of participants, and 46% increased their torso rotational velocity. This meant that players were moving their body much better through the impact area, which also helped them compress the ball better at impact. The results found that the clubhead angle of attack became steeper in 73% of participants, which matches the improved results from the McKenzie study. The results found that the club path moved more to the right of the participants' benchmark club path in 70% of testers, and again this correlates with the improved results from the McKenzie study. The results showed that 61% of testers had less club face to club path divergence, leading to more consistent shot making, ball dispersion and distance control. The results also showed that in the majority of golfers their hands were less involved at impact. This meant that the club face and the club path matched each other more closely, and the element of timing that's required to hit straight shots is reduced. The results showed launch angle decreased in 59% of participants. The average launch angle in players in the study was 25 degrees prior to using the DST Impact Line and 20 degrees when using the Impact Line, indicating a more compressed golf shot with less scooping at impact, leading to increased ball velocity and distance. And again, this correlates with the improved findings from the McKenzie study. The results showed that the test players were able to gain a better understanding of how the club should arrive at impact, and all the players, when surveyed after the completion of testing, said that the impact line allowed them to understand the impact position better than before the testing. In conclusion, the forward handle position that's promoted through the use of the DST Impact Line allows the player to see and feel where the hands and club should be at impact. The conclusion that can be drawn from this testing is that when players have a greater awareness of a forward handle position at impact, the club returns to the golf ball with the hands more forwards. Just remember that these improvements were tracked over just 4 shots, so you can imagine how much improvement you would see if the impact line was in all your clubs and you could groove your club delivery pattern to reach a lag impact over a period of weeks, months and years. So you're probably asking, how does it work? Well, you simply lean the handle forwards until the impact line aligns with the leading groove on the club face to locate the handle position that produces a lag impact. It's that simple. But that's not all. Irrespective of how you grip the club, with a weak or a strong grip, it shows you the lead wrist position that you need to reach to deliver the club into a lag impact correctly. So you can locate and feel what you're trying to achieve depending upon the style of grip that you have. And lastly, it also helps you de-loft the club face correctly without fanning the club face open, which is a common error when golfers first try and reach a lag impact. The reason why the impact line is so useful is because reaching a handle position that produces a lag impact is a lot more exaggerated than people imagine. When we ask golfers to demonstrate a lag impact, they tend to get nowhere close, and that's the reason why the DST Impact Line being on all the clubs in the bag is so useful, because it allows the player to understand, feel, and be reminded of the handle position that produces a lag impact before every shot they play. Synchronizing the downswing to reach the handle position where the shaft trails the lead forearm at impact is what every golfer should work on. When you achieve this, you control the club head until after the ball has been struck. Ultimately, the DST Impact Line technology enables golfers to build a club delivery pattern that ensures they get the best out of their clubs. So let's embrace this practical technology and allow it to help us in all our clubs, on the range and also on the golf course under tournament conditions. So make me a pledge. After watching this video, if you think that the DST Impact Line, which is a conforming technology that's legal to be put into normal sets of clubs, should be available in the clubs that you use, then please leave a comment below so that the manufacturers can see the level of interest in making clubs that incorporate this game-changing yet simple technology.